welcome to Closing More Deals with Outsourced Transaction Coordination. I'm Amy Waz, Product Marketing Manager for Batch Service. I'm joined today by David Olds with Easy REI Closings. This
Yeah.
whole thing, David, is a really interesting concept that
Hmm.
a lot of customers are using to grow their business. Your
Yeah.
your business is a really interesting
Mhm.
concept. So you use batch leads, you search for the
Good.
properties, you contact the property owners, you do all your marketing.
Hmm.
Um, and as you grow, that portion of it is going to eat up more and more and more of your
100%.
time. But once
Yeah.
you get that deal and you're ready to go, a
Yeah.
lot of people get stuck in the paperwork, and that is
Oh,
where you come in. So tell us a little bit
yeah.
about that.
So, the thing is, what we came into this business to do was to make money and help people. And typically, most wholesalers really get charged up making the deal, right? Talking to the seller and, working out a deal and then selling that deal to your end buyer or portfolioing it, whatever you want to do. But there's no like endorphin or, adrenaline rush from figuring out paperwork. And, honestly, it can be a little bit of a drag sometimes because, it's not the thing that we love to do. So, this is the kind of the part in the life of a transaction where so many of the deals come to die. And the reality is, like, I'm going to hit you guys with some truth here. 50% of the deals that you contract, like statistics nationwide from some of the biggest CRM providers tell us this, 50% of your deals are never going to close. It's a fact, right? If you're good, 70% will close, but that still means 30% of your deals are going to die. And those are deals that you bought the leads, you skip traced, you called, you texted, whatever it is, like you spent money to get those contracts. And then, even if you're great, 30 or 40% are going to die. Why do they die or not close? Well, a lot of the time it's because maybe it was priced wrong or your marketing wasn't good. And I'm going to give you something at the end here to help you with that. But the other is just title issues, and every deal can be completely different. There's so many wacky things that happen because what do? We go out looking for wackiness, right? So working through that is just, can be a struggle and, trying to sort through title issues. It's not fun. It honestly, to me, I'm a wholesaler. I identify as a wholesaler, and it just feels like you're walking through quicksand trying to get it done. So, that's sort of the niche that we serve.
You mentioned something about investors aren't asking the right
Mhm.
questions when they're starting to put together all
Sure.
of this paperwork. What questions should they be asking?
Sure. If
Oh, you're fine.
you're pulling it up on batch and it's like, oh, Mr. and Mrs. Smith are your owners, and then you're talking to Joey, the nephew. Well, great. Like, what is your relation? Are they alive? Can I speak to them? Are they on board? Who are the people who are going to be the decision makers, and are they signing the contract? Because unfortunately, like fraud is a real thing. At least once a week, we have some wayward family member who's trying to sell a house and not cut in their brothers and sisters on the property. We had one the other day, and the this guy was like, yeah, my mom and dad are dead and I don't have any heirs. There's no brothers and sisters, it's just me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Like, it was a little weird, so one of the coordinators like just did a simple Google search and was able to pull up the obituary, and oh, well, there's all these heirs, so we, brothers and sisters. So she calls him back. Hey, what about Bob, Penelope, Susie, and Timmy? Oh, they all live in Europe. We're like, okay, well, that's cool. We 100% can close a deal. If somebody's in Europe, it's very simple. We'll get them to the consulate or to an embassy. We'll
Sure.
have a notary there. We'll stamp the stuff, no problem. Oh, well, they're not reachable. And then, like, after like the fifth time, okay, well, they're here. And because people are dopey and they think that they can sell something without getting everybody to sign off because they don't want to split the money, right? So that's
Yeah.
a very common thing. People who are unrelated to trying to sell a property that, we've had people falsify IDs, all kinds of crazy, crazy stuff. So, especially if you're going to buy this stuff and put it into your own portfolio, you want to make sure that you've got real clear title, right? And like, even if the title company says it's good, like, you don't want to do a bunch of repairs and somebody come out of the woodwork 6 months later and like snatch that property back from you to the
I'm
other.
not familiar with this. Do you handle novations?
Yes, we do novations. Fantastic. We do over 40% of our deals are novations. So probably about half are straight wholesale cash deals. 40% are novations, and then the rest are broken up between sub two, creative, notes, wraps, all of those types of things. So a novation is sort of the answer to, I want to sell my wholesale deal to somebody who's getting a conventional or FHA, like a normal bank loan.
Okay.
So
Okay.
works a little different. Like, you should go get training from somebody, go buy somebody's course and get the right paperwork. But it allows you, doing some paperwork where you become either you have a power of attorney or an attorney in fact, and you're representing the seller, and it gives you the ability to put this property on the market on MLS, accept an offer on that property and then go to closing. And essentially, instead of the assignment fee being on the buyer's side, because a bank will not pay an assignment fee, right? There's RESPA
Right.
law, there are laws about banks of what fees they can pay. So that fee flips over to the buyer side and it becomes a marketing fee. So,
Okay.
very common, it's really blown up in the last few years. Coaches like Corey Geary, Eric Brewer, Rich Wonder really, have really just blown this up. And yeah, so anyways, 40% of our deals are are novation type, files. But they're very complicated in that, it's different than a cash deal, right? So in a cash deal, it's you and me, and we're going to run down to the investor friendly title company, and we're going to get this thing closed. And if something happens and I got to move title companies, you're an investor, you're probably going to be cool with it. Very, very different with a novation, right? A novation, I'm selling to a retail buyer, right? And I've got a
Mhm.
retail cash or a retail agent, realtor involved. And a lot of times I didn't control the title company. So there's a lot of variables in there, right? So, if you say the wrong thing or send the wrong piece of paper to these guys, it can really, guys and gals, right? It can really spook them. And, we've had so many clients come to us who are like, dude, 70% of my novations aren't getting closed. I don't understand what's going on. And we're like, oh, tell me what you're doing. Boom, boom, boom. There's your problems. Let us take this over. One, because you don't have time to be messing with this. Go get more deals. Let us get these things closed for you. And novations have such a high, like the spread on them can be so much bigger because, in a wholesale deal, right, I'm selling to an investor and I have to leave enough meat on the bone for them to fix it up and then resell it.
Mhm.
If on a novation deal, and you can't novate every deal, but I'm selling to just, like a homeowner who's just going to get a basic loan. And, maybe I have to give them a 10% discount and they're thrilled to death. So anyways, I just much bigger spreads on novation deals. That's why they become so prevalent lately.
Do you specialize in any one type of deal
Me
or
personally, or our company? No.
all of the above? Yeah, because you mentioned novations and that like
Yeah,
40% of it of
yeah,
your business is novations. I
yeah.
didn't know if there was like another type that you
Those are the
specialize in.
big straight cash deals are huge. Novations are really big, but we do a lot of work with like the sub two community and the note people who write notes and do all sorts of wacky, kind of crazy stuff. Eddie Speed and some of the other, kind of coaches and influencers out there. So we do lots of different deals, but no, primarily those are the two big ones: wholesale and novations. Those are really, really big. And then probably the third one after that would be creative sub two type stuff.
How can investors really maximize their profits? But I feel like that might be a little bit too vague. I don't know if there's something specific, like tips or tricks or
Yeah.
anything like that that you can offer.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, the way that you maximize your profit is leverage, right?
Mm.
Certainly, let's just talk about batch, right? Certainly, you can go down to the county courthouse and maybe convince somebody to give you a copy of all the properties, on some CD, Excel, macro, whatever computer thing, and download it all to your computer and make your own software to sort through it all and figure out that you want properties that were bought between 5 and 10 years ago that are two stories that are owned by somebody over 70 years. You can do all of that yourself, right? But we go to batch because boom, because they've got this ready. And I can literally pull that list in 30 seconds, right? So that's leverage. Because the only thing that we really have is time, right? So
Right.
yeah, you could spend the next 3 weeks going to pull a list, or I could go to batch and pull it and be done with it, right? I can go sort of figure out how to change my oil. I'm going to run to Advanced Auto Parts, the oil and the filter, right? And then I'm going to crawl under my truck and get stuck like Winnie the Pooh and just see my legs kicking down there, right? And then realize I
Wiggle
got the
around.
wrong, I got the wrong, filter, and I'm going to run back and I've wasted a whole day doing this, or I could be at the 15-minute Jiffy Lube, right? It's all
Right.
about time and leverage, right? So, how serious are you about this business? How much do you want to grow what you're doing? And that's what we do, right? Certainly, you can muddle your way through title issues, right? It's a lot of Googling and it's a lot of like asking questions, but what's the cost of your time? What's the cost of those lost deals, right? So, when I was first starting, I was fixing and flipping on Orlando from 2002 to the end times in 2009 when the market crashed, and then and it was bad. And we came to Chattanooga, Tennessee. We came here strictly for real estate. So out of desperation, I had to start wholesaling. So I was getting these deals, and I would go down to my local investor friendly title company, which was First Title, right downtown. And these were like the investor people. So I would go down there, and they didn't really understand like what wholesaling was. We had to sort of teach them a little bit, but I'd go in and I'd be like, hey, I got a new contract, and I would go to their attorney, and we called this guy Dr. No, because I'm telling you, it felt like everything was freaking no. I'm like, hey, I got this deal, and Jeremy would look at it and be like, man, dead person. Like, yeah. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, that's what my coach told me to do, right? Go find dead people in probate, right? Oh man, you're gonna
Right.
have to send this to a probate attorney, and it's probably gonna be 6 months, and like literally Dr. No. So I'm like, oh,
Great.
you know, well, that was 12 grand, like down the tubes, right? And this kept happening just over and over and over again, like whatever the situation was, right? All the problems that we go out and search. Oh, you need a super quiet title. Oh, this is in bankruptcy. We can't close it. Oh. And finally one day, I mean, I remember this clear as day. I went in there and I'm like, new contract, and starts this nonsense with me again. I'm like, dude, come on. I just came from this woman's living room. I told her we're gonna figure this out. Like, there's got to
Right.
be a way to do this. And he's like, well, I'm like, what would you do? Like, if you needed to close this, what
Mm.
could you do? Right? Like, and this, I remember a mentor of mine told me, ask better questions. Better questions get you better answers. So I'm like, what would you do? And the answer was, well, I guess if you get this and the other thing and these two affidavits, I can close it. I'm like, bro, how many of these contracts have I thrown away in the last year where we could have done something, right?
Right.
So, it's those deals that I see people losing, right? Because they don't understand how to ask the right questions. They're not at an investor-friendly title company. They're just going down to the place on the corner, or they went to some Facebook group and said, I need a title company in West Virginia, and some goofball gives them, just some rando place. And you're going there and you're literally trusting these people with 10, 20, 30, 50, $60,000 of your money, and they don't care, right? Let's be honest. Our business is the worst business in title, right? Because what do we do? Right? It is like don't delude
Yeah.
yourself, like, and think that we're God's gift to title companies. We are not, right? Because we're the riskiest business there is. I own a title
It's
company. I get it,
complicated.
but what do? We bring them problems. We bring them all these problems that have to be sorted out. So we are not their favorite, you know, and also we have very lower price properties, right? Like, we're buying stuff at a discount and selling it at a discount. So it's not like they're
Right.
making money on title fees or title policies. They're making, honestly, title companies make between $600 and $800 on a file when it's all said and done on an average. So they're looking at your nonsense that you brought in, or all the stuff the realtors have brought them, that were sold 3 years ago and had clear title 3 years ago, and they're going to be easy peasy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're not loving working with us, right? Should they? Of course, because we're awesome and we're investors, and we're helping we're helping everybody, and we're cleaning up neighborhoods, but like,
Oh yeah.
we're a pain in the butt. So and most wholesalers are investors. They're new. They don't understand how to solve title issues. So, the title company's like, yeah, here's this list of stuff. Go figure it out and come back. Right. And that's where, if it's us, one, we close so many deals that are very responsive to us, right? Like, when we call people, and like they hop too, because they want the 40 deals that we're going to send them a month, that particular title company. Two, like, when they're like, they get the file from us, it has all that information from Mrs. Smith. So we're teeing it up for them on a silver platter. So this is what I tell people, like, you're going to get more of your deals closed. Like, these deals that are dying because somebody's telling you, like, Dr. No, this can't be closed. Like, we can close the majority of those. Are some
You're
just a
Dr.
rat
Yes.
mess? Yeah, yeah, we're Dr. Yes, right? We're the easy button, wherever it's at here.
Yeah.
Can we close everything? Of course not, right? Some are just a mess, but even if we get those properties, we'll call you back as the client, go, hey, Amy, yeah, this one does need a super quiet title. Here's what we're going to do. First off, go get your seller, add 6 months, get an extension for 6 months, call your buyer, get an extension. Let's get time. And then we'll work with
Mm-hmm.
your seller and say, hey, here's an attorney, contact them. Let us put you in contact. Here's what you need to do. Here are the steps. So you can keep doing what you're doing, right? And instead of throwing this deal away, we'll in the background be working it all the way to fruition for you, so you can get paid. Is it going to be quick? No. Sometimes there's not a fast answer, right? But
Mm-hmm.
again, after thousands of these files, somewhere 4,000 files since we started, like we get it. Like we know the answer if it's a closable deal. And there is the 1 or 2% of the time where we're just gonna be like, dude, the juice isn't worth the squeeze here. Like, here's
Right.
how we do it, but honestly, you got a $6,000
Gotta
deal.
get it out.
You cut
Yep.
this. It's just not worth. It's just not worth it. So that's what you get when you work with us. It's just literally, it's like working with you. Like you are the experts at data. We are the experts at title.
I apologize to everybody. I thought I was posting the link in the chat, but I just figured out how to do it. So
Oh,
it's up
cool.
there now.
That's awesome.
Click
Awesome.
the link. Seriously, click the link, check it out. Again, you can get up to $500 off, and you will receive this webinar as a replay in your
Yeah.
email. I believe we'll also be sending the link to Easy REI closings as
Yeah.
well.
So
Um,
here's something that we're going to do, which I didn't tell you guys
yeah,
ahead of time, and I don't never do this, but if you book that link, it's going to take you to a page. There's a little video underneath. There's a little blue box that says book a call. If you book a call today, and I can tell, I'll be able to tell because all this stuff is time stamped. If you book a call today and you become a client of ours, I'm going to also give you our dispositions course. So this is a course. Before I got into doing title, I was one of the biggest dispo courses. I coached all the cartel teams and how to, sell more deals. And I think it's like a 8 module course that really takes you from the beginning to end on, how to, do dispo at a very high level, how to train up your acquisitions team. So 100%, when you call and talk to, me or Will or any of the people on our team, our customer service team, like mention that, and we'll make sure that when you sign up, you get access to that. So that was something we charged people
heard it.
$4,500 for. So in the very beginning, plus we'll give you $500 off the
It's no
encore.
brainer.
Yeah, yeah,
You click the link, you book, yeah,
yeah.
subscribe, and you get 500 up to $500 off
Yeah.
and the dispo course.
Yeah, and
Amazing.
people ask, why would you do that? Well, because I want you to be successful, right? Like I can definitely
That's
keep
the whole
selling
point.
these courses, but I want you to do a lot of deals. If you're the person doing one,
Yeah.
two, 3 deals a month, I want you to do 5, 6, 7, 8, right? It's going to be good for me. It's going to be good for you. I want you to be, doing 10, whatever it is. And that's kind of one of the things that we'll talk about on the phone, right? Is what'd you do last year? Or, what are your plans for this year? What can we do to help? Right. Like, I'll also give you kind of my personal little Rolodex of like the vendors that I use. And, these are the people that kind of like we're doing here that I know are reliable and real people, and they're not gonna screw you over. These are people that are the leaders in the industry. And it's sort of that cheat sheet for setting up your business, right? These are the people that you're going to need to really grow. And at least, even if you don't want to grow, like I get it, not everybody wants to do 40 deals a month, but at least have a sustainable business. Because, one of the mistakes that I made at the very, very beginning when I was getting started, and this is something that a lot of entrepreneurs and kind of hustlers, it's this little sickness, right? We're entrepreneurs. We all got a little touch of the narcissism. I get it. It's not a bad thing. All right. You're an entrepreneur because your brain works different, right? The things that make you successful, there's good and bad. But the bad side for me was I can do it all, right? I'm the best. Nobody can do it better than me. Nobody's going to care more than me. And the reality is that's not true. Like there are things that I'm really good at. Obviously, talking too much is one of them. But like I'm not good at like I'm not good at everything, right? I couldn't set up a PPC campaign to absolutely save my life. Have I done 1,600 deals? Yeah, but like I can't do that. Back in the old days, Chris Chico, one of the old time gurus, coaches, like used to have this very simple postcard. I could not get the template to make this postcard work to save my life. Like there are things I'm great at, but I'm not good at everything. But for a long time, I thought that I had to do everything. And that was the thing that really stunted the growth and, the ability for us to really grow our business was because I was working, 14 hours a day on a short day, 7 days a week. And my half day was Sunday where I work 6 or 8 hours, right? But once I realized that, oh, I could bring somebody in to help me with the different parts of my business, right? Bookkeeping and accounting and property management and, transactions. Well, then, right, then my time was freed up so that I could do the parts of the business that I was good at and the parts that I really loved. And that's when I saw just that, phenomenal growth. And that's when we went nationwide. And that's when we started doing, 25 to 35 deals a month. But you can't do that yourself, right? So if you're serious about growing, you need people like us and batch and bookkeepers and, all of those things. So,
David, we appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for
yeah,
joining us today. Really,
yeah, a lot
really
of fun.
insightful. And thank you to everybody. Yeah, thank you to everybody who joined us today.
Awesome. All right, guys. Thanks so much. Go out and get some contracts and we'll talk to you soon.